If you don't know, there's a new RSV monoclonal antibody which is absolutely amazing. It's called Beyfortus. It's a game changer, hopefully. It's also not readily available. These rollouts oftentimes are botched, right? The manufacturers don't want to make too much because in case people don't take it up. And there's all this anti-vaccine sentiment and blah blah blah. Anyways, apparently the highly intelligent people who are paid lots of money at whatever company makes Beyfortus were stupid and didn't realize that RSV has a great uptake for the monoclonal antibody, which is not a vaccine, which I'll explain later. But it's good at preventing kids from getting RSV, especially babies, in which it could be bad. So I was debating whether or not to get it for my daughter. Not debating as in whether or not I should get it, but debating as whether or not I should get it. Let me explain. There's times you want to get stuff, and it's not readily available. Do you then say, I can't get it? Like Taylor Swift tickets, for example. Yeah, if you have thousands of dollars, go ahead. Buy it on a reseller market. But if you don't, probably not going to get it for a few $100 in the US. Canada, maybe a little bit cheaper, and some people have, gone to Canada for them. Apparently in Brazil, when they had a heat wave, they're even cheaper, like $100. Either way, the real issue is how much you want it, right? Because we often try really hard for things, and we don't give up. Like, there's the people who wait in line days to get the newest iPhone. I mean, I don't understand why, but hey, that's their thing. And the thing is, when you really want something, right, you don't give up and you figure out all ways possible to get it. Let's say your spouse. I mean, we all know stories of how hard people try. They don't give up years on end, right? Yeah. I know one guy tried for years and the girl didn't respond for a very long time, like over a year. Anyways, they're married now. But the thing is, going back, so this Beyfortus is not readily available. Even though I'm a doctor and I have some connections here, but I can't get it for my daughter. It's just not going to happen. Talk to somebody else about this because I didn't know much about it. Would you recommend it? And she's like, yeah, I mean, she's not going to die, but the thing is, you're traveling and it's just a high probability she gets it. My daughter's healthy. She totally qualifies over by CDC recommendations. But the problem is, it's just not available, right? So, what do? I have a friend who works in pediatrics, but he just can't get his hands on it either. She just doesn't meet criteria. He can't change that. Plus, he works in emergency room, but they don't give it there. But the thing is, my friend was like, maybe I should just give up. I've tried, right? Contacted, her pediatrician in another state, where I work, blah, blah, blah. I've tried, right? I've done what I could. And I was asking my friend who works in emergency room whether I should really get this. And he's like, yeah. I mean, you could prevent asthma. I mean, he's not worried about her dying, but if she gets a really bad case. I started looking it up. And I guess they're talking about this and they're interviewing one of the doctors. And it's funny because I know her by name because she works at the hospital I work at. She's saying, yeah, it's really a game changer because, you can prevent people from getting sick, from dying, from being hospitalized. But it's not just that. You can prevent kids from getting asthma, which is amazing. I mean, asthma is a lifelong condition for many people. And it's prevalent, and it's not benign, not a good thing. So I was like, okay, well, I'll try to get it then. I was in Alaska, working there. And I was like, okay, what means do I have? I could call around, and I could, and I called around. And after, I don't think I called every pediatrician's office, but at least 5 of them. Yeah, and not available, right? I mean, some places are out, otherwise they would have given it. And I was only going to be there for another week. And in some places, we're an established patient, which I wasn't, right? I mean, we're just visiting there. We've only been there for the past month. I mean, we don't normally stay in there. And then I was like, okay, well, let me try where I'm working, right? See, can I get her care there? And it all went through until It got to the higher ups, the admins, I think most of the time, if you talk to a doctor, we all hate the people in administration who have no idea what's going on with patients. Just make these decisions. Uncaring, I would say, for most of the time. Anyway, so they blocked it because they said, well, she's not a beneficiary here, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's fine. It's like, wait a minute. I have a friend who knows people around here. She has kids. Could she ask a pediatrician friend she knows or their pediatrician? And so she did. And I had to remind her. She was busy that day. We're all working, right? Like, yeah, she said she'll do it. So I called her. She called back. I left a message. She said, we'll take care of it. I mean, at that point, before I was thinking about the cost, after I realized that I just can't get it no matter how much I want to pay. And just wondering, just to sort of get a ballpark. Anyways, she didn't charge me for it because she's a doctor and she says, we took an oath, Hippocratic oath, to help people. And so it's a nicer way of saying professional courtesy, but yeah, she'll try to bill my insurance for it if she can. Otherwise, forget about it. But we got it. It's not hard. It is hard. I mean, it's hard in the sense that I had to put a lot of effort into it. It's not hard in the sense that I didn't have to drive a million miles. I was already in Alaska, right? It's not like I flew specifically from California to Alaska. But how do you define hard? How do you define I tried too much, right? How do you say I've done my best? I find that's the problem. It's so nebulous. What does it mean, right? And when we know if you really want it, right? I mean, think about it. You go to places, right, like poor areas, and they have their fancy, smancy sneakers. How did they get it? You think it's easy for them to get up to $200 for Air Jordans? I don't think so. But they wanted it, and they got it. And I think that's the thing I find interesting about the world that we live in. Medical care. When is it too hard to get what you want, what you need, and you just give up? I think that's hard to say, but I'll talk about it tomorrow.